handling the version at the different stages is truly a difficult and challenging task even in the industry. And therefore, now this current industry has completely shifted for managing the entire project lifecycle using these different tools of the DevOps. And this is the JIRA is one of the very popular tool in the DevOps for managing the software project. Therefore, we requested Suresh sir and the Gurunath sir that to give the briefing to all of us so that we'll go through this training and then we can create the accounts in the JIRA software. Sir is going to talk more on it, but up to the 10 license or to 10 user license we'll get at a free of cost. After that, it is a chargeable basis. But considering the team sizes, that all three teams, that none of the team is exceeding the more than 10 users. So we'll create the team, different three teams, three different account, and then we'll do the allocation of the job, maintaining the track record of the job, and even managing the various deliverables and their versions as well. So without taking much time to give the brief about this JIRA software, now I request and I'd like to put forth my thanks to both professors as they have taken the enough efforts since 2-3 days to go through this self-learning basis, the JIRA software, and they have prepared the presentation and the demonstration as well. So now I request them, both of you, to please take this session ahead, and we are eager to listen and listen to you and understand the JIRA software. Thank you. Over to you, both of you.
Thank you, Dr. Sambraji. Sir, can you please mute? Okay. So echo is getting created. So good afternoon, students and faculty who are attending the session. We are starting with the session on JIRA, which we are using for the product development, basically. So all the life cycles of the project development are handled and the completion phases will be analyzed every time using this tool. So now I request my colleague, Professor Gurunath Waghale, to start with the presentation.
Okay, thank you, sir. Dear student, as we know that most of the time, the problem which we faces in the project development page, process is like there is a lack of management. So what comes in a management is like we have to think about every aspect of the project. How can we complete it in a given time frame and with a given resources? So that is a challenging task under the project management. Now, when we talk about the project management, so in today's era, it is not necessary that to manage everything on a piece of a paper or writing something on a boards and everywhere. There are a number of softwares nowadays introduced in the market which can be utilized for completing and developing the project. So the main problems, if we don't use the softwares in a project management, which we may face, that is the first one is that we may not complete our project on time. Second thing, the quality may not be ensured by the developer team, because you might have observed in your mini project too that you might have completed your entire 80% of the work in last 10% of the time, and that's something which leads to the like low quality of the product. So here what we are focusing is that just like industries, if you go to the industry, you will find that there are a number of softwares which are used by the companies, but the JIRA is one of the popular and accepted software in the industry, which is useful for the managing the entire software projects. So here we will be talking about JIRA today. So we'll be going for understanding. Yeah, before starting the JIRA, we'll just discuss a few of the techniques and methods to manage the projects. You might have learned in the software engineering that there are two approaches. One is waterfall model and second is agile. So in the waterfall model, that is something we called it as a conventional approach. Though it is a conventional approach, but it is not like this is not useful for us. It is still useful, and we use both agile as well as waterfall in managing the project. But what is waterfall, that we need to understand again. This just in a revision. I know that most of you are already aware about what is waterfall and agile, but here I just want to give a brief revision about it. So waterfall, where the client is giving us a requirement, and as per that requirement we will be developing the software. Just like you can take that software, the ICAR project which you are on which you are working. So the requirement is given by the client, and as per the requirement we will be gathering those requirements and we will be working on it. So the next part which comes is the software design. Then we will be talking about the implementation. So once the software is designed, then it comes to the implementation, and then we will be verifying, and that's something we called it as a testing in the technical words. And then again going for the maintenance. So it's like a developing and handing it over to that client. So taking the requirement until looking at the maintenance is there are different stages or phases, and that is why we called it as a waterfall model, as the water is flowing from the step to step, and it is coming downstream. In the same way, initially we were taking the requirement, then we designed the software, then we implemented, and then we tested it, and then finally we gone for the maintenance. But here, have you ever observed that in waterfall model there is a lack of more interaction of the client and other stakeholders in the projects?
Exactly.
Yeah.
So I just want to add into your point, sir. In waterfall model, if you see the step-by-step completion of the project or the development of the project, starting from the requirement gathering from the client till the implementation, verification, and finally the maintenance. So we taking the review of the client for the particular product at the end, and as per that the review is done, and again implementation is done over there. So somewhat or some kind of thing we can say that a complete product is given for the review, right? So interaction of client is very less in this case in waterfall model. So that's why what approach we can overcome on this. Please go ahead.
Yeah, this is something we called it as a waterfall, like agile model, which is another, or perhaps I may call it as an upgradation of a waterfall model in a recent and in a complex software designing, when it comes to the complexity and where the role of a client is very important in each phase of the development. That time the agile is going to play a very crucial role in the software development method. So what is that agile? Agile consists the different phases and again continuous. It's like a dividing your project, maybe as per the phases, maybe as per the development stages, or maybe as per the different component. When we divide the project, and accordingly for each and every component or maybe phase or maybe stage, we will be taking an advisor or advice of your clients, and we will be implementing it for the next stage. And that is what we something called it as an agile methodology. So if you want to put your contribution for giving the example.
Sure. So as you can just view a screen over here, you can find out the differentiation between the waterfall and the agile model. So previously we have seen the waterfall model for the complete product development, and here you can find out that we can modularized approach can be used over here. Instead of developing the whole project in an instance, we can modularize it into the different functions and the modules, and then we are developing all the phases of the analysis, design, code, test, and again review and upgradation that is done on each and every module time to time, so that whenever we're doing the testing and the review in front of the client, so ultimately the client interaction is going to increase in this case. So I'll just give you a real life example in this scenario. Suppose in our house, whenever we are making a furniture for suppose our hall or the bedroom, right? So there are two approaches that we can just say to that person that you just give us all these things. That means a bed requirement is there, a table I want, a wardrobe I want, a study table I want, and a chair I want, right? So we're just giving it. Now if that person is developing, now see the stages are what, that we are cutting material, then we are joining material, then we are laminating that, and then another work of channeling or glassing is there, or painting, coloring is there. So these are, we can say, the stages of creating your furniture in the house. So if you implement this for all the furniture at the same time, then at the end, whenever that is represented to you that yeah, this is a whole furniture of your house, at that time you're watching it for maybe a first time, so you may find कि नहीं यार ये ऐसे नहीं बनना चाहिए था, ये ऐसे बन गया, इसमें ये changes करो. So this is what the whole thing is again need to be upgraded. Whereas in agile module, what is happening that every single component or a single furniture is first developed, then it is reviewed in front of the client, and then upgradation is done over there. For example, instead of developing everything, first only the chair is made, first only the table is made, and the whole team is working on that module first. So the chair is prepared, or it is crafted, and it is shown to the client whether it is up to the mark or not, or if you want any changes, it can be done. Then wardrobe is prepared, then bed is prepared, then a study table is prepared. Likewise, a modularized approach is used, and it is going in multiple iterations. As I said, if I prepared, if that person has preparing a table, study table, and he will show you that, see, this is the work I have done So you want to add anything into that, maybe a color combination you want to change, or a laminate which you are applying on it you want to change, or the structure of table somehow you want to change it, you want to make it bulky, or you want to increase the size of the tabletop. That input you can do at the time of development, which was not there in the waterfall. It is at the end, the showcase will be done in front of the, because in that case, two things are coming over here. The requirement which you have given for the development, it was not, we can say, precise one, right? So whenever we framing the furniture at our house, at that time, the requirements are changing continuously till the end of production. It may happen that आपने घर पे भी देखा होगा कि कुछ चीजें बन के उसको तोड़ के फिर से भी बनाया जाता है, because as per the satisfaction you are not getting it, right? So if you have the modularized approach for that, then it is very easy. It is cost-effective solution also, and very important aspect in this is nothing but the client satisfaction, which is truly getting appreciated in that.
Yes, and that's the reason. That's the reason most of the time when we work on a project, the main intention working on a project and having a good project management is very simple, that the client satisfaction. If your client is satisfied and if he get the product which he desire, or perhaps nowadays it is not necessary that what client was expecting, we should give him a more utility than he was expecting. Suppose being a like household person, if I'm expecting that the furniture, what kind of a furniture I need, I might have seen in somewhere or in someone's home, and looking at the furniture, when I desire to have the same kind of a furniture, and I have given you the order. In between that, while developing that product, if you bring some innovation, and if that may be liked by the customer, that client, and he may get the more benefit from it or more utility from it, and that should be your main intention behind this kind of a project management tools. Now going for the next, here you will understand the difference between waterfall and agile in a detail. So look at that waterfall. First we have to define the problem, where, as you know, that for starting the project we need to understand the problem where we are facing. So define the problem, then build the solution, then release it and get the value from the customer. Value maybe in terms of his customer satisfaction, or maybe in terms of monetary. Now coming back to the understanding this agile, yeah, so okay, coming back to the agile, you just try to understand how agile works. So there's a cycle. First we define here what is important is in agile is what important is we have to divide your project in different phases or different stages. Modules. So that will help us to design the agile. Otherwise, if you are working just like a developing entire product at the same time or in a continuous way, that will be part of your waterfall model. But agile mein important kya hai? Agile, we need to remember that agile we have to divide the project in a different phases or stages or different component. So now if you take the one part, the first here, first we'll define the first component, then we'll build it and we'll release it. Then we'll take the satisfaction analysis of the customer. Then after getting that analysis, we may get some ideas on which we can improve, and again we'll define, again we'll build, again we'll release. So this is how we'll keep going till we have a final product or final value which we can hand it over to the customer. Now look at the risk graph, right, where in the first stage waterfall the risk is very low, but as you go in completing the project, the risk factor is going to be increase. Yeah, it will be more in the last stage. Why? Because the risk is nothing but risk of not acceptance of the customer or dissatisfaction of your client. So that you need to remember, that if you are following the waterfall model and the project is uncertain some kind of, so in that case your risk is going to be more at the end stage.
Yeah, exactly. So here you can find out that in waterfall you are getting released once, right, and your total value is at the end only. But here in modularized approach you can just find out that stars, green stars, 3 green stars are. That means what, 3 different releases are there for 3 different modules, not for the whole product. So unless and until you're not satisfied with the first module, you cannot go for the second, or we can say the maximum iterations can be there for even one module. Unless and until you're satisfied with that, you have to repeat it again, and at the end of satisfaction it is getting released. So that is what the approach is. So risk factor is just like you're getting and terminating, again you're starting with the next module, and likewise we are getting the evaluation.
Yes. So here the risk is diversified. If you can see here the graph, the risk earlier in a waterfall model, the risk was increasing, but yeah, exponential. And here in case of Agile, what is happening is in every stage as we are getting the feedback from the client or customer, so the risk is diversifying for the every phase. If my first phase, in the first phase, I have gone through the risk, I may not repeat that risk, or I may not repeat that thing in the next page. So I may avoid it. Therefore, the risk is now going to be less compared to the waterfall model. Yeah. So here we'll just try to understand the differentiation between that waterfall model and Agile. So in a waterfall, defined scope is there. Now, before starting this, I just want to put one statement that we can't say that whether Agile is good or waterfall is good. Both the methods are having its own importance and its own advantages. It is according to the project on which we are working. What kind of a project is for me? So I will first judge with the project, and I will try to identify which model, whether should I go for Agile or should I go for waterfall. That we can decide it, I guess. Exactly. Yeah. So it is depending upon the project on which I'm working. So if suppose the project which I'm getting, which is having a defined scope, matlab, at the start only I know what kind of a product is going to, what kind of a product is to be delivered. Customer has given, suppose the prototype model customer has given, so this is the building or this is the software, this is what I want, and I don't want anything else. So if the project is defined, you know the definition, then better you go for a waterfall model. But if the scope is not defined, then it will be always better to go for an Agile, because you have a scope where you can have some modification, given some advanced feature in that product, and you can offer it to your customer. Now here, one more thing which I want to relate with this point is, if you have a scope, it means that you can even ask your client to pay more for it, irrespective whether he wanted that features in that software or not. Suppose, say for example, I want a software, I'm a retail shopkeeper, I'm looking for the software where I can billing, I can use it for billing of my all the product which I'm going to sell it in my shop. So in that way, if you can link that online platform, payment platform or gateway, that was not my requirement, but you have given that idea, then that will be an additional utility for me when I will start using the project. So if such projects are there where the scope is undefined, or if the scope is on you only as a developer, then better go for a Agile model. Yeah. Then
second is nothing but the less customer interaction. So in waterfall model, as we have seen the previous diagram, where we find that there is a less interaction, because at the end only customer is showcased the project development. Whereas in Agile, time to time we are having a recursion of the development, so that always the review and testing is there. So in front of customer, the continuously interaction of that module is done, and as per their satisfaction requirement, test cases are satisfied, the further module development is started. Next.
Yeah. So the third difference, no continuous team collaboration is required. So what is team collaboration? Where all the team members are coming together, sitting together, and they are discussing about the project development stages and what can be done and what should be done. So that kind of a collaboration is not that much required in case of a waterfall model, because everyone knows that the scope is defined. If I'm a developer or I'm a designer, I know what is my task. If someone is the coder, he knows what is his task. So in that way, in a waterfall model, everything is decided, and therefore there is less team collaboration required. But in case of that Agile, it is continuous synchronization of the teamwork is required, because here continuously you will be coming together and you will be discussing, and how you will be thinking that how can or what should be the something new can be involved in the projects, and that is why we required a good team collaboration or team communication in Agile. The next one is?
Next is independent performances. In waterfall model, there are independent performances, whereas in Agile, there is a team performance. I'll give you one example. You people are developing your mini projects, right? And whenever you're giving a presentation at that time, you're telling that it's a front end part isne kiya, back end ka maine kiya, middle part maine kiya, GUI is bande nahi kiya. So likewise, they are distributing their task, and they find they are independent. That if I ask you or tell me about the GUIs, then that particular person cannot tell that because they have not worked on that. Whereas in agile methodology, as I have given an example of furniture, table banana hai, the whole team will work on it. So each and every person will know each and everything about the project. So that is what the team performance matters in agile.
Yeah.
Yes,
in addition to that, I just want to put one point here. Even if for the client or client will also, that external, we called it as external stakeholders will also get an opportunity or the chance to put their own opinion in case of agile, but where is the not possible in case of a waterfall because you already define everything. The next one is appropriate if budget is fixed. Now this one is very important. If the client has given you a budget constraint, if the pehle client ne bola, this is what money which I am giving to you and I can't afford to give more than that, even if you are giving me any additional features in that software, then definitely you should go for a waterfall model because your budget is constraint, having constraint. But if your budget is not having constraint, your client is saying that I don't worry about the budget, but I am worrying about the future, then in that case you can go for agile methods or approach over the waterfall.
Yeah. So here next point is nothing but in waterfall it is having a constraint to increase the budget because whenever, as sir has mentioned, that whenever your requirement is very deterministic or it is very defined scope, that means there's 1, 2, 3, 4 points I want to develop. Tell me what is the cost. Deliver it, and I'll pay only for this particular 4 things, right? Whereas in agile, the projects whose requirement is like there is an updation because the project development age can be a 2 years, 3 years, right? In that whole development process, there may be a lot of upgradation in the project because till coming that project on the ground for the execution, the requirement may change. So continuously, your stakeholders, your clients are proposing different updations into the requirement, not in the development. So ultimately, whenever the updation coming in the requirement, that is percolated in the development also. So ultimately, the cost of that product is going to increase. Whatever proposed or quoted initially, that will not be there at the completion. It is going to definitely increase. That's why if your project is having a capacity of extension of the expenses, then definitely you can go for the agile. Otherwise, if you have a constraint of budget, you can stick with the waterfall model.
Yeah, and same to extend the same point. Of course, as the budget is a constraint, so we can't increase the expenses. We have to focus more on the expenses part because if you increase the expenses, in that case you will have to suffer from those losses. And in case of agile, the final product may be more expensive than the budget which you have already sanctioned to the client. So that scope is with you. It is up to us.
Depend on the application.
Yes. Now, going for the next, we'll just try to understand the pros and cons of waterfall model and where can we use it. So accordingly, once we understand the pros and cons of both the models, we can identify that where and in which case of in what kind of a project, which method is suitable most. So now look at this, the pros, a clear goal and direction. And I need not to explain many more because we have already cleared many. So if you have any question in between, it's like you feel free to ask us. Then the second pros is like progress can be easily measured because as in every stage, we will be like completing our task, and once we complete the task, we'll be having a rough idea that who has completed what task and at what percent. And the second is the save time and money, of course. Whatever the money which we are installing for completing such project is defined already, so we'll be saving our money as well as time because we will not be thinking about more features adding into this existing software, and therefore it is always better to have on a particular constraint of the time and money. So if you want to look at the cons, then the limitations, then the time consuming, of course, the for planning will not be there, and definitely it doesn't involve that much management, and due to which the project may get lack and it may not be completed on given stipulated time. So that is the first problem. Second, the customer dissatisfaction, because at the end, as we already discussed, at the end, if you develop something and in between that we haven't taken any suggestion from the client, and then final product we are delivering to the client, that time customer or client maybe possess the dissatisfaction. And the last one is the risk factor. So of course, as we know that in a waterfall model, the risk at the time of completion of the project is very high.
Because whatever expectation of the requirement was given by the client, maybe they are
not necessarily that will be completed.
The risk of revision of whole product.
Right.
Yeah. Now the pros and cons of the agile methodology. So pros, first of all, we'll discuss that it is having the high customer involvement as we discussed previously, lesser risk because the continuous updation in the requirement is there, as well as the technology updation is also there. Improved quality ultimately at the end because many recursive revisions of the testings are happening and the development happening over there. Then the cons are nothing but dedicated team is required for this, exactly. Then hard to execute because we are developing that in modularized way and continuous interaction. So we need to keep up the track of each and everything. Then documentation can be ignored in this case.
This is one of the important feature, I guess. Yeah. Because everything we will be doing continuously, so there is no need of like maintaining many more documents, because taking the budget, maintaining every document of the budget, requirement documents and all, because you might have observed that some of you might have worked on a real project. That time you might have observed that when client is giving his requirement, he was also confused what he want exactly. So identifying his own requirement for him is also difficult task. And therefore, you guys are there in the development stages. You may come with a different solution and different requirements, and you can accommodate the same. For that, we need not to have a much more documentation as we required in case of a waterfall. Now, the question arises: which one is the right model? So, as I already told you, like there is no right and wrong model. Both the models are useful, but it is depend upon the situation and depend upon the project on which we will be working. So use the waterfall if no change in the scope, as the scope is defined.
Exactly.
Right. Budget constraint, if we have a budget constraint, if the predefined final product is given by the client requirement, as per the client requirement, then the project if the project is relatively simple to handle. If the complex project, then go for this agile. Then the project relatively simple, then highly experienced and handling the project. So here it is very important that if you have an experience to handle such projects, suppose say for example, one of the agency or one of the software making company is or have been in the developing the software for educational institution for as a ERP. Now that ERP model, as they have been developing such software, so for them it is will be very easy to identify what are the requirement of the client and accordingly developing the product, because they are having the experience to do the same. But if you don't have experience of developing such kind of a project, you are new in that kind of a project, then definitely you should go for agile. Then client is not so capable to understand. Yeah, as we told you, like sometimes the client is also confused, like what kind of a product he is expecting. And when the customer or client knows what he need in advance, if the customer or client is known that if he knows what he want in advance and he has given the requirement, then definitely go for waterfall.
Yeah, exactly. Now, when to use an agile or on what conditions we can go for the agile. So if unpredictable scope of your project is there, because we just thought of we have to do this, but what will be the outcome, how it will look, and what will be the usability of that, we don't know about that. So it is predictable scope of that product is there. In that case, we can definitely go for the agile. Then flexible budget, obviously no constraint on budget, then you can go for the agile. No definition of final product, कि ऐसे ही दिखना चाहिए, right? So it may be the perception of the maybe from developer side and maybe from the client side. Client have given ki I want something like this, and developer side or the developer team will give the actual designs. Ki yeah, these are 3-4 designs are now.
Out of which you may
so the perception clearance is over there. The project is relatively complex. So as we discussed, we have studied the whole life cycle, that how it is getting developed. So it is somewhat the complex in development point of view. Lack of experience of handling such a projects. Then, as sir has mentioned previously, client is capable enough to understand. So here, two kind of clients we can consider. One is only non-technical support. The client is non-technical, so they just raising their requirement and they they just using the product whatever you have given. Another is what client is much we can say the known or educated in that product and that, so they can understand more requirements and capability of that product. And customer or the client gives just requirements, so they just throw you the thought if we want something like this, you prepare. So that comes under the agile platform. So likewise, whatever projects now we are handling, ICAR and all, so they likely to become in the agile, because the statement is just thrown in front of that we want to monitor our vineyards and all. So how can we do that? So ultimately, we people are doing a lot of iterations into that, and we're coming for the problem definition.
Because they are just giving us like their problem. They are stating their problem and they're asking us to provide the solution. So most of the projects which are coming to us are like that only, where the client is just giving us a problem statement and they're asking us to give the solution. Now they don't have given that this is what we need to design. If they would have known that what they want to do, then we would have thought about the waterfall model. So now, as sir has concluded this discussion, till as we will be going directly with the agile, as most of the projects which are coming to us are the innovation kind of a projects. Yeah. So as a layman or as a non-technical background people who are coming to us and they're approaching us like, we are facing this problem and what kind of a solution you can give us. So they don't know even what is the output final which you're going to give them. So therefore our main focus now is to understand the agile in detail.
Yeah. So basically, we were just using the word that agile methodology, waterfall model as a method. So basically, agile is not a method. It is just an approach.
And usually we used to say like agile is the methodology.
But yeah, it is not a method. Yeah. It is an approach of selecting a method. So we have seen the agile framework, that how we can develop a project, what could be the line of action in that. But to do that, we can have the different methodologies under agile that we can select. So agile is just an approach, or we can say a set of rules by which we can select a method. So under the agile, we have different kind of methodologies like Scrum is there, extreme programming is there, Kanban is there, many more are there.
Yes, we have just like well-known framework we have kept it here for your reference. Yeah. So the Scrum methodology. Now it comes to the Scrum, because as sir has already told you, okay, like there are different method or like approaches of the agile, and out of which the Scrum is very popular. As you also know, okay, nowadays people or software engineers especially prefer to go for a Scrum methodology.
Many of the industries even they're going for the Scrum.
Yeah, the Scrum framework. What is its structure that we need to understand first. The Scrum structure is not, a framework is nothing but its structure. So what comes under the methodology? Now, daily stand-ups. So it's like an interaction. As this is the part of agile technology tools. So daily stand-ups must be there. Means like coming together and collaborative work के लिए हमें daily stand-ups की बहुत जरूरत होती है. So now that is the reason that is the. Then the sprints. Now sprints is what? Sometimes the sprint is nothing but the time span which is given for completing the particular task or assignment. Suppose you have given an assignment by the faculty member and they have given a particular time span, maybe like within a 10 days you have to complete your assignment and you have to upload it on teachers on. So that is we called it as in a technical, what we called it as a sprint. Yeah. And then the product demos.
Yeah. So I'll tell you one example that I was on sabbatical leave in Expansion Limited. Currently, it is called as the Blue Cones Technology. So me and IT faculty, that is Yogesh Verma sir. So we both were there for the 15 days, and we spent to understand how they are developing the project and all. So in that company, we find a central room was there, which was hexagonal size. And every day, whenever they're starting their day, they were coming in that room and they were discussing. And that meeting was hardly of the 15 minutes, not more than that. So that is called as the daily stand-ups. So they were taking 2 stand-ups, one was in the morning and one was in the evening. So they were just coming before starting on their days, they were coming into that room and they just discussing. So a product leader was there and remaining team member were there. They're just discussing, yeah, what is the status of your work? What is the status of your work? Kind of that. It was literally a word-to-word discussion. Not a documentation was preferred in that case. Kisne kya bola, note down karo, isne kya bola, note down karo. It was not like that. They were just discussing. They were just taking the verbal
mutual discussion.
Yeah. And then they're going for the work, right? And at the end also in the evening they were discussing, and at that time maybe the client could be there in the stand-ups also on phone call, that what is the status. Yesterday you were telling ki you faced that particular problem. Have you solved it? So that kind of discussion, and ultimately what we can say, there is a continuous assessment of your work also. See, 10 times if we ask you that ki, have you done that particular task or not, then ultimately you will get habitual to do it on whatever timeline is set for you. Sprint is that what timeline we are fixing to complete the task. Then product demos. So as you're developing your phases of the product, even you can do the demonstration of that product. And
it's like a prototype of every page of
correct,
the product.
correct.
Yeah.
We can show it. And retrospective approach is what? Testing on every module. And again, we are going in the iteration to develop that product.
If required.
Yeah, if required. Again.
Okay. Now these are the Scrum tools. So basically, to manage the Scrum, we need to go through the tools. Now tools are what? Tools are the tools are helping us. It's kind of a softwares where these softwares are going to assist us to have a Scrum or like agile management in a proper way. So looking at this, there are n number of means even we can if you go to the company, you will find that there are many variety of software. But if you look at the features, almost all the features, around 80 to 90% of the features are similar with each other. And one more important thing is that even if I am using JIRA, I may able to, or I can able to connect, or I can even connect that JIRA to any of the other tool, and I can integration. I can have an integration, or maybe like we can even gather the data from the different tools. Suppose earlier the company is using JIRA, and now, or suppose ClickUp. Earlier company was using ClickUp, and now company has decided to go for a JIRA. In that case, now the JIRA has an option to integrate or pull the data from the ClickUp. Yeah. So therefore, you need not to worry about what is the tool and will that be there in the industry. Yes, every tool like that according to the company, according to their own choices, they might have taken one tool of the Scrum, but all the tools are having almost similar features.
Because that is a framework.
Yes, yes. So out of which the JIRA is very important, on which we are going to focus for our project.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So now Agile Scrum rules. Now, whenever we're talking about this particular framework, so we can say what individuals are there on the board here in the project development. So the first one is nothing but the product owner. So product owner is nothing but your development team is there, your client is there, right? In between these two, there is a product owner. So product owner basically understand the requirement of the customer, then create vision for the final product, then balances the need of the other stakeholders, maintains the product backlog and release management. So everything will be taken care. So we can say in short, product owner is nothing but a mediator between the client and the development team. Yeah, next. Yeah, next one is nothing but the Scrum Master. So next to exactly immediate to product owner is nothing but the Scrum Master. So development team, right? In development team, one will be there who will be called as the Scrum Master. And the responsibilities of the Scrum Masters are nothing but is responsible for gluing everything together. So basically a coordination task is done by the Scrum Master. Then sometimes act as intermediary between the product owner and the development team. So it is just a next hierarchy after the product owner, helps in planning and breaking down the work. So once the task is given by the product owner, now I need to divide that them into my team. So that task will be done by the Scrum Master. And that will be done by using WBS, work breakdown structure. Exactly. Yeah. Then manages backlog, ensures completion, and ensures transparency of the product development. Yes. That is done by the Scrum Master. Next is nothing but the Scrum team, which is consists of the software developers and quality assurance. See, the words quality assurance every time comes in the picture. It is not because it is the whole product at the end only for the testing and the quality assurance. A continuous quality assurance is involved in the product development. Break down the work into subtasks again. If beyond the next level we want to go, we can go. Deal with the planning, implementation, testing, and the preliminary reviewing of the goals. Ensure timely delivery with the quality assurance, and communicate their progress with the Scrum Master. Then Scrum Master through the next level, the transmission of the communication will happen. Yeah. Yeah. Okay. So in Agile Scrum rules, so there are different roles as Sir has already discussed, that the product owner, Scrum Master, and Scrum team. So in JIRA, what are the things which we are having is Epic. Now, when we talk about the Epic, even not even, as I told you, like not even in JIRA only, but also in most of the tools, right, Scrum tools, you will find these terms. Where the first term is Epic. Epic is what? Epic is the exact requirement of the client. Now you can take your own example of ICA. What is the requirement which the client has given? Right. So now here we have taken one example where
you can understand it in very easily. As the customer, I want to be able to pay my order through online wallet. So suppose I want to develop a or I have already a delivery app which the customers are using, and now I want to add the features in that existing app for the payment option, online payment option. That is my requirement as a non-technical background person. As a client, I am giving it to you. Now it is your task. Now the project has given to you, requirement has given by the product owner. Now going for the next, that is a Scrum Master's task. As a Scrum Master, that he will divide that project to epic. Epic is nothing but the project requirement which is given by the project owner, and now the Scrum Master has that responsibility to divide it in a different stories. Now, when I'm talking about the stories are nothing but these are the subframe of that frames of that epic. So first in that, what I'm trying to do is, first of all, I need to think about as a Scrum Master, as a customer, I want to be able to pay my order through PayPal. And second story is, as a customer, I want to pay. I want to able to pay from my order through Paytm, because I want to integrate two payment gateway. One is PayPal and second is Paytm. Now this is what is still the Scrum. Now Scrum team will do and divide that into different tasks.
So as sir mentioned that epic and stories are basically non-technical terminology.
Yes, sir. Yes.
Because whatever requirement is raised by the client, as it is percolated into the different categories. Now the time is coming to give it a version of the technical aspect.
Yes.
After stories, if you want to achieve a story one, that is as a customer, I want to be able to pay for my order through the PayPal. Then what I want to do? So technically, I have to add pay through online wallet option. So what I need to do in my application, I need to add an option of online payment. Second task I need to do is nothing but to integrate with the PayPal, right? That is a technical term. And third is nothing but that I integrate towards the Paytm API. So these are the three tasks which are completing your two stories, and these two stories are completing your epic.
Right.
So this is what the hierarchy is, right? So tasks are now there in front of the Scrum team for the development purpose.
Yeah. So that is the development task. Yeah. So completing the task is the development.
Yeah, exactly.
Yes. And when we are talking about the stories and epics, that is something like a requirement.
These are the non-technical.
Non-technical. Okay. But guys, please remember these epic, stories and tasks, because everything will be used in JIRA.
Yeah. So in our project in ICAR, one statement which we got them is your epic, and under that whatever subdivisions we have done, that will be the stories that we are going with different structures like rover and that WSN structure and analysis and everything.
And to complete every story, what technical expertise we need, that will come under the tasks. Okay. Now look at this row, this diagram again. It is the same, but here we have gone in detail. Yeah, we can even skip it. Already we have had a discussion about it. So again, here the Scrum sprint activities. If you look in this AGILE framework or in the Scrum activities, so you will find that the stories to do in progress, testing and done. These are the sequence, or these we call it as a sprint. Sprint means the time limit which is given to you. Now say for example, there is one task which you have to complete within that given or stipulated time period. Now if you want to complete it, first of all you need to get it as a type of stories, then task, and accordingly we will have to put it in the to-do list. We have to drag it. How to drag it, how to create it, we are going to discuss it in detail. But just for the theoretical part, we are putting it here. Then we'll be dragging it after completing it. We will be dragging it in a progress tab. It means that we are, or I as a team member, I'm working on such that task which is assigned to me. So I'm pulling that thing in progress. After completing it, I will be taking it to the testing tab, because now it means that I have completed that, and now it is under testing. So this board is visible to everyone who is a part of that project. So everyone can get an idea, like if the task is assigned to you, then how efficiently you are working on it. And finally, after complete testing, you will be dragging that task from the testing to done.
Yeah, one more thing. In the testing, again, if you find that there are some revisions to do,
okay,
then again that task from testing will go back in progress.
To-do list.
In progress.
Okay, in progress.
In progress. Again, you will work out on it, or maybe in to-do also, because if you are saying that now whatever changes we got in the testing, we are not doing right now, we will do them in the next sprint. So in that case, we will again throw them back to the backlog, and again it will come to the to do in progress.
As a task, it will come and we will complete it.
So likewise, we can have a throw.
Okay. Now again the same thing here, as we were talking about this example, integrate with a PayPal. Again, we will pull it into the in progress as per our activities. As we complete it, we'll be pulling it to the next tab. Yes, sir.
Now we want to just go towards the tool, that is the JIRA tool. So because it is a product of the Atlassian, the JIRA is the Atlassian product, which is a project management tool and issue tracker developed by Atlassian. So it is nothing but a burst tracker and the project management tool. Yeah. So now how we will, now we have seen the framework Scrum model. And now we want to do it technically with the help of tools. We have to do in automation way. So JIRA is all-in-one solution for multiple software and the team related use cases. So what stages are there that we have to do here in the tool? First is nothing but the creating backlog. Yeah, that is very interesting.
Yeah.
So you might heard that word. If someone heard this word first time, they may get frustrated. So backlog means we haven't started, and initially we are getting the backlog. But the terminology is that whatever we have not started yet, that is the backlog. So whatever task, then stories and everything we are writing initially, all they will be there in the backlog. And whenever we will allocate a time to them, that is coming as a to-do.
I guess along with the time, we have to assign it to the particular person.
And assign is also.
Then only it will convert it to
to-do list.
To-do list.
Right. And then the work will start.
So, in progress and done.
So backlog is what we need to work out on it. It is not ki try and we haven't solved it, is going in a back. So that is again a backlog. That is again a backlog we try to solve and we are not able to give a completion on that. It is again going back to the backlog. But also the activity or a task which we haven't started, that is called as a backlog. So initially
whatever we have created is like a
backlog. Yes. Initially. Then we are creating the sprint that we have to define that how much time will be required to complete a specified number of tasks in that. Then creating task again, updating status on the Scrum board, then managing releases, code integration, and last one is nothing but the managing workflows. So these many things we can do in the integration under one platform. So sir, now we will start with one case study that is called as a smart investment. So sir will explain a background of this first.
As being a non-technical background, I have given an idea that this is today in the morning when we were talking about that example. Sir was asking me, do we have an example or do we have any requirement? So as a teacher of finance and economics, I have given him one idea that suppose if I'm an investor, I need to get some hint that as per my income, as per my needs, as per my health condition, as per my family members and everything, there should be one app which can suggest me in which proportion or in which investment option what amount should be invested for me. So it will be individual basis, means for me, as per my income, as per my family members, as per my need, as per my health, I should get some hints as a financial advisor, because nowadays you also know that for everything we need to go to the CAs and we need to pay a huge amount of charges for CAs fees, and therefore I need a smart investment app. So this is my requirement as a client or as a customer. So for that, as an investor, what is my epic is? Epic is very simple, that what I need as a customer. So the epic has given by the customer or client. So what is the epic? An investor, I want a suggestion about investment for the year, for this financial year. What should be my investment? मेरा tax उसमें बच जाएगा, मेरा purpose fulfill हो जाएगा. So for that I have the requirement. When I'm talking about the stories, so इसमें again stories can be done like what is there in the detail. So the first is, as an investor, I want to invest in mutual fund, I want to invest in insurance, and I want to invest in equity. Yes, of course, apart from this, there are various other options to invest our money, but we have taken only three options for the example, as we can do it in the software too. So this is the story. Now, yes.
So as we discussed previously that epic and stories are completely a non-technical aspect.
Yes.
Because as an investor point of view, what is your requirement? So we actually trying to get the flavor of requirement in their language. So that's why you can find out that it is mentioned as an investor what you want. Now coming to the task, that to fulfill all the stories and the epic, what task we can have. So first task is what, adding investors income through the different sources. So that is what now technical aspect is coming. To achieve the above story, we have to add the different sources of incomes for that particular person. Then second task, for this now we have to develop something, okay, to achieve this. Next task is nothing but adding investors time-based financial needs. Third one is nothing but as per the returns locking period and the customer's needs, suggestion suitable on mutual fund. Then fourth task is nothing but as per the income, health risk and liabilities, suggesting suitable insurance policy. And task 5 is nothing but the fetching technical fundamental analysis and suggesting suitable equity option for it. So for each and every task now we developing some technical development. Now under this task again you may have the multiple subtasks which are again modularized approach, and every module will be developed separately and later on it will be integrated. So this is what a case study now we are taking. So now we will start with the JIRA platform where we can just have a view. How can we just create everything on it, right?
Yes, sir.
So yeah,
will you share your screen?
You start.
Okay. Give us a minute. Huh?
Yeah.
Sir, I think you're muted.
Hello.
Yeah, am I audible now?
Now you're
Yes.
audible.
Yeah, okay. Okay. So I'll just go back again. So after doing login on the JIRA platform, you can create your login. Okay, you just have to search on Google JIRA. You'll get the. I just do that again to show you. Or I hope you have just visualized that also. So here you have to go in a project and then create a project. Here we can give the name of our project, that is expert investment. So the keyword is automatically generated. That is the first character of your every word. So 2-letter key is only there.
Or even if you can, if you want, you can change the keyword. If you want to make it different, then also you are free to do that.
So there are different templates. Out of them you can select. So Kanban is there, Scrum is there. So as we are using a Scrum, so we are selecting the Scrum and then we creating it. So the project is getting created. Yeah. So here you can find out
this is the dashboard.
Yeah, dashboard of the JIRA. So here it is the name of our project. That is the expert investment. Now here you can find out to the left hand side, roadmap is there, backlog is there, board is there. Now code, project pages, add item, all these are the repositories which we have, and these repositories we can integrate with the other platforms. So there are the many platforms provided by Atlassian which are just holding the codes, they are holding the documentations, and also we have to integrate them over here, but we are not using them right now. We just using this software for the coordination purpose basically. So here we can create a roadmap, right? So yeah, you can find out the months are mentioned over here. You can have the weeks view also if you want, or you can have a quarters view also, and you can have month view also. So as per your project requirement, you can do that. Now here, first we can create an epic. So here in epic, we can type that as a customer, I want something, and what that general statement. Yeah. So I just put a small keyword now, expert investment requirement, like. Okay. So this is what my epic is created.
Or a customer's requirement. What is the main customer requirement?
Right. So if I plus under this, I'll again, now we are going into that epic. I can create more epics also.
Yes.
But here I have created one epic. So under that again, now this option is coming. So here if you click, you will get a story and task. So under epic, I want to create a story. So I'll just click on story, and here I put the story. The story is what that I can go in a mutual
mutual fund first, or like
first,
second is investment.
Second is nothing but
like insurance.
Insurance.
The third one was about.
See, I am putting keywords only, and you have to write the whole statement here. The next one is nothing but the equity. So these are my stories, right? So 3 stories I have. Now I have to add a task. So I'll just change it and I'll put the task over here. So task is what? First, that gathering
information of
income,
the customer.
Income through the sources. Then next one is nothing but, yeah, tell me, sir.
Next one will be the like mutual fund.
Yeah, mutual. So
suggestion of mutual
so we are designing a system which is giving a suggestion
system
of mutual fund. So this is a task now that we are doing. Now next is nothing but we are creating a platform which is giving us a suggestion of insurance. Then next task is nothing but a platform we are developing which is giving a suggestion of equity. Yeah. So
guys, remember that all these tasks which are we mentioning under the stories are technical things, means where you will be working on it and you will be completing those to achieve your main epic.
Right, exactly. So these are what your stories and tasks have been created now. So now the roadmap is also given, so you can just stretch out it and you can define that in what time duration you want to develop it. So suppose March to April, these 2 months I want to spend on the development, or May 3 months I want to use for the development. So
of that
I
whole
can
project.
For the work epic to
yes,
that epic. So that timeline I can just stretch out over here.
Yeah.
Now whatever I have created,
even we can add that timeline for epic as well as the stories and as well as for that task too.
Correct. Now whatever things we have created in roadmap, now all you can find out them as a backlog. So if you create on the backlog, everything is in the backlog. Epic is not there. Only your stories and your tasks, because they are having the completion menu.
Yeah.
So they are there in the your backlog.
Until we assign those, or we assign the time frame and assign the particular person, it will be there, or those will be there in the backlogs only.
Right. Now if you go on a board, Scrum board, there is nothing because we haven't assigned anything. We haven't given a sprint to that. So there is nothing. You can find out that this is a to do, this is in progress, done kind of thing. So you can even if you want to add any category, any
testing
column,
or like any other page,
other
page you can add up.
Add over there. Right. So now how to get things over here on the EI board or your Scrum board. So again, we can go in a backlog. Now here in a backlog, now we have to create a sprint. Sprint is what you're allocating a time duration within next 2 weeks. We have to complete this many tasks. Within next 1 week, we have to complete this many tasks.
Yes.
So likewise, we have to define. So we can click on a create sprint. So this space is getting created. Now you can create multiple sprints. So this is first sprint. Again, if you click on the create sprint, then second sprint is getting created. So likewise, your one project development can be a combination of multiple sprints,
variety of
multiple sprints. So below that, you will find out your backlog. Now, suppose initially I have to do a task of mutual fund. So what I'll do, I'll just take it, drag and drop in the sprint.
First sprint.
Right. So it is coming in the first sprint. Now, along with this, I want to complete my 2 tasks. That is the gathering income sources, and then I have to create the suggestions for the MF. These 2 tasks will be there with that particular story. So I can say that in a way that to complete this particular story, these are the consecutive tasks I have to perform. So this combinedly is my first sprint. I have to handle this task first. So I'm calling this as a sprint. So here, yeah. So now all are in the to-do. So we can edit or we can assign them.
We can even go to the board dashboard, and we can even see like now those activities which we have.
Unless and until we start the sprint,
yes,
yeah. Unless and until we assign and start the
sprint. Yeah.
Okay. So now, if you want to assign the task to anyone in the group, so you can just do the assignment. So now, so here, suppose I am assigning to myself, so I just assign all these 3 tasks because no one is there in the group now. So while creating the project at the initial level, we can add the group members into that. So here, the assignment is done over here, and now we can
click on this one.
Edit sprint. Now in edit sprint, you can give the sprint goal, and you can change the name of sprint also.
Sprint 2.
And now I'll just click on the start sprint. So whenever I click on the start sprint, so this is the name. Again, you can change over here. We can give the name as per our work completion, or जैसे हो सकता है. Sprint name can be anything.
Yeah.
आपको कुछ funny नाम डालने हैं, कोई group को अगर कुछ ये करना है,
represent करना है.
So that kind of thing also you can give a sprint name anything. Now here is the duration. The sprint duration is generally.
Is it like a sprint is a set up of task or stories which I want to complete simultaneously?
Yeah, means as a task first. अभी हमें कुछ develop करना है.
Yeah.
तो पहले मुझे ये 3-4 चीजें complete करनी है. That is what one sprint is.
Yes.
And in what time duration I want to complete that, maybe 1 week, 2 week, 3 week, 4
yes,
week.
Yes.
So
within
like
the 2 weeks, how many tasks which I have to complete, that I will be showing in one sprint.
Correct.
I may create another 3 or 4 sprints to
complete
distribute the work, whole work of the project.
Exactly. So here we can mention the start date. Now, as I have started, I want to start my project from the 1st March. So I just say the from 1st March I will start, and automatically 2 weeks means 15 of March the date is coming, and I just mention some goal over here about my sprint, and I can start it. So you can say the sprint is started now. So you can find out that your story and your 2 tasks are automatically now there in the to-do list. So these issues are now, the issue can be your task, can be story, can be epic, can be bug also.
Yes, yes.
So that can be there in the to-do list.
Now the person to whom we have assigned the task or that story is only visible, like is able to see this task in his own board.
Yeah.
Now sir has assigned to himself, and therefore all you can see all these three tasks and 2 tasks and 1 story is showing in the sir's dashboard. So now if sir wanted to complete that, if suppose sir has taken this first story or first task to complete and he has completed it, now he can just drag it and he can put it in the in progress tab. It means that we can see now this board will also be visible to the admin as well as all the external stakeholders, that who is working, which task is in progress of whom, so that idea can be get. Okay, now after or sir wanted to work along with that first task, he also wanted to work on a second task too. Simultaneously, he want to work on both the tasks. So he can drag here, and the same will be reflected in all our account or all users account, and we all can see how that particular user is working. Now after completing the task entirely,
double click this.
Yeah. So it will be, you can again further, you can drag it here and you can mention it in that completed. Now, once you've completed it, it means that he has completed the task, and the percentage and reports and all that can be generated by admin panel.
Yeah, exactly. So sir has shown a GUI methodology to drag and drop or just handle the Scrum board. You can just double click on any task. So this
that option is also.
Yeah, here what you can do, you can just change your task from this also. That from if you want to go in. Now you are in progress, so the option is you can go on done. Okay, so likewise you can.
So it means that you can change the status from the by double clicking the option.
Double clicking also. If you change it, automatically that will be getting shifted to the another column.
And there are many more options too.
Yeah. So if you attach something regarding this task, you can attach. You can
just to prove that we have completed.
So whatever, see students. Now whenever we are using this, whatever you are doing on daily basis regarding this particular task which is assigned to you, you have to attach its document over here. Suppose you have done any survey regarding that, you just attach it. Suppose you have created one code of that, you can just attach it for the review and everything for that. So the documentation you can attach over here. You can create a child issue. If you find that if this I need help can be divided further, you can do that. You can do the linkage of the issues, that 2 or 3 issues are having the same output, so we can link them and we can collaboratively. और ऐसे भी हो सकता है कि एक task का output आपको दूसरे task के लिए use करना है. In that case, you can perform the linkage. You can write the description. Then you can put any comment. अभी ऐसे हो रहा है कि in this task I want to put the comment. Comment part is very important because somehow if you are not available further and if the same task is getting allocated to another person, in that case that comments will help us that what actually the previous member have worked on.
And one more addition to this is like it is Sir's login and he has assigned this task to himself only. Now if I am the user and I am using this, then this dashboard will be available to me also, where I can also put my own comment on it. Means like this comment option is also available for everyone's user ID or user login. Why? Because if I have some suggestion which I wanted to give that the sir is completing this task, then I can put it as a comment, and whenever he get login to that account, he will be able to see that comment and he can do the appropriately.
And one more thing, whenever I'm assigning, now see, I am the administrator now, right? Because I have created this project. So now I can be a Scrum Master of this. So whenever I'm assigning any the task to any other user, at that time he or she will get an email. First of all, I need to add them in the team, and after that, whenever I want to assign at that time, automatically the option. See, now here is only one name is coming because Kamlesh Joshi, that industry person, and I am in the collaboration. So if I am adding the team, then that many names will be available, and I have to select it. I have to assign it. On assigning, that person will get an email that you have been assigned a task. So automatically that flow is maintained, and whenever he or she is opening that, he will get in front of this Scrum board.
So users will not have that option, that statement that sir हमें तो भी inform नहीं हुआ या फिर क्या करना है कब करना है ये पता ही नहीं हुआ.
Yeah.
And this
one more thing in the history. What happened on that specific task? Who have done what? We can just get in the history that कितने time को किसने क्या किया था. So Suresh Kapare created issue before 10 minutes, then changed the parent, then updated the sprint and the rank. We can do the ranking also. So that part we will do later on. That we can do the ranking on it. Then assignment is done. So that status is updated. Who have updated the status last time? नहीं तो आप बोलोगे sir ऐसा किसने गलती से मेरा प्रोग्राम में था में डाल दिया और टेस्टिंग में ये क्या ऐसे नहीं होगा.
We'll be having a track of each and every activity
that who is doing what, that will in the history. So at the end, what we want is to be that everything should be in your done part, or that should be in the completion part. So this is what our what we want as a achieve. That is what the completion is. And then we can, after finishing this, we can complete the sprint. So likewise, complete EI sprint number 1. The sprint contains 3 complete issues. So this is what the complete sprint we can do.
So the main purpose behind this using this software is to have a transparency to everyone who is a stakeholder of the project. Everyone will have a transparency that who is doing which task and at what time he is completing, how much time he is taking for that. So there will not be any complications and any disturbances in completion of the project.
Yeah. So if I open the Epic के details में अगर मैं जा रहा हूँ, so if I open the Epic and view all details, so this side window is getting created where these many stories I have created, and out of them in first sprint I have completed gathering income, mutual fund, suggesting mutual fund. So the status is nothing but done, and the cross line is coming over there. So in a glance I can just view that how much task I have completed. So 40% work I have done over here. So in this way, we can just collaborate our work on the platform as a JIRA. Okay, I hope that you have got insight of this JIRA platform. So if you have any doubt, you can just ask me, and even we people can more elaborate on this. Yes, any doubt? Any questions?
Yes, team leaders will have their own accounts or different.
Yeah, everyone have to create their own account on this Atlassian website on JIRA account.
One more addition here, guys. If we purchase, we are in fact we are trying. If you purchase it, then we'll have it. But if we are using the free version, then definitely every one of us have to have our own account through which we can connect with each other, just like a Gmail and other platforms.
So every user on the project have to create their account on JIRA.
Unless you create it, we can't add you in that project.
Yeah. It is cloud-based service, so we have to create.
Okay, sir.
Yeah.
Anything else?
So for a project, we can add maximum 10 members in a free version. So what we will do, we will divide our module-wise work.
Or sprint-wise.
Sprint-wise. ML का team है उसमें 10 member. बाद में और कोई अपना जो task हमने divide किया है. So likewise, we will create a different projects on it. So and finally we can integrate them. Okay. So any doubts? Anything else? Yes, please. Is everything clear?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
We'll have more sessions on it. If you want any more clarification, or if you want to have a direct suggestions, or you have some problem, you can even come to us directly by taking your laptop, and we'll have a discussion on it again.
Okay, so now the first step towards it, all of you just create your own login. That will be your first task, and then we will just separate out. We will have a next further discussions with the different teams, and then we will create different modules. Then we will sit together. See, before starting on the tool, first of all, we have to sit together and we have to work out on it. So पहले हमारा पेपर वर्क होना चाहिए कि हमारे स्टोरीज क्या होंगे, हमारे टास्क क्या होंगे. Once we have that verbally in discussion on paper, then we can put them into the stories and epics. Okay. Chalega. Okay, so can we stop here?
Yes.
Hello. Yeah. Okay.
Yes, sir.
Thank you so much. Thank you so much. Yes.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.